What up, fam? It's your boy. Okay. As you can see, your boy's a little nasally. He's still a little groggy, still not feeling completely 100%. My wife feels that I'm probably still medicated on the drugs that I took last night to try to get myself better. She is probably right, but we're not going to give her that much credit. Okay. All right. So, Superboy was where you first come across Bizarro. Bizarro is a anti-hero slash villain of Superman and Superboy. In 1958, they created a mirror version of Superman. At that particular time, they don't go into super depth on how he was created. It's just a mirror universe, which means he's the opposite of everything Superman. With that being said, the S is backwards. His language is backwards. How he does things is backwards. But he's always trying to be Superman, which means he's doing things but messing things up at the same time, which is why Superboy ends up having to try to defeat Bizarro. Later on, you find out that in the comic book, they bring back Bizarro, but they bring him back through Lex Luthor, who creates a clone of Superman, because that's Lex Luthor's ultimate end goal as always, is to control Superman. His thing isn't and that he hates Superman. He hates the fact that he can't control Superman through his money and his power. So he creates one who ultimately has his own, I guess you kind of a meltdown aneurysm, and he starts speaking backwards and doing things backwards, which Superman ends up having to stop him from having to wreak havoc on the universe. In this particular case, they made a Bizarro Lois Lane, who, of course, he falls in love with the Bizarro Superman, who takes that Lois to go off into their own world and own Earth, which is a squared Earth, where they use the same array to create mirror images of the people on Earth. So you have a planet full of Bizarros. This tends to be the long-lasting story in the comic books, Bizarro being a creation of Lex Luthor, which ends up being a anti-hero villain of Superman. Again, you come across Bizarro in Smallville, which you got the mirror image of Superman, who becomes the mirror image of Clark, who you find out Bizarro's weakness is blue kryptonite. Why blue kryptonite? Because blue kryptonite actually heals Superman, where green kryptonite weakens him. Of course, Bizarro, mirror image. Green kryptonite strengthens Bizarro but weakens him, where they end up using the blue kryptonite to kill this version of Bizarro. Later on, you find Bizarro to join the Injustice League, Lex Luthor and the gang from the Super Friends. You'll find that he was a big villain in Superman. Again, they never go into strong depth of the inner workings of Bizarro. You just know that this is the opposite of Superman. Well, in Superman and Lois, they bring in their version of Bizarro. His planet, being the mirror opposite of Earth, has a red sun, which gives him his powers, where a yellow sun weakens him, which is why in this particular one, when they do the crossover event and they cross Earth, Superman gets weaker on Bizarro's world, where Bizarro gets weaker on Superman's world. He has a mirror family, but in his world, his kids all have their powers. Superboy is one of his twin sons. They are more or less Hollywood stars, kind of versions of themselves, but this evil scientist who is trying to combine the two worlds together so she can begin her most power of her most self, ends up trying to collide the two worlds, which means one is going to be erased, one is going to be completed, ends up trying to combine these two worlds. Well, you get a crossover event to where this particular Bizarro ends up coming to this Earth trying to destroy this Superman. Because he's kind of being mind controlled a little bit. Now, in this version of Bizarro, it's a little weird because they end up making this Bizarro a zombie Superman who ends up becoming Doomsday. I believe I talked about Doomsday, this particular Superman Doomsday, in earlier events. What I didn't find out is I have not, excuse me, spoken to you more heartedly about Doomsday himself, his creation. I believe I had a conversation small on TikTok, but we will get into Doomsday since he is one of the versions that does cross over into the Superman and Lois universe. So, not a lot to really speak on this particular character. How did they do compared from comic books to TV show? The first half of Superman and Lois, I really did enjoy this particular version of Bizarro. The comic book version was a little weak to me. The whole Lex Luthor created a Superman, a clone Superman that goes buck wild. In the comic book universe, they tend to rejuvenate a story over and over and over and over again, and it becomes very watered down. This was a very good, intelligent, and integrative portion of adding Bizarro to the Superman universe. I did not like him becoming zombie Superman only because that led into Superman becoming, well, Bizarro becoming Doomsday. And I like the original story of Doomsday, which we will get into on our next villain of Superman and Lois. What's the difference between the comic book version and the TV version, and which one is done better? So that's on that piece. We'll talk more about all things favorite red and blue guy later on in this episode. But we got some things to talk about that's coming up real soon. You know what I mean?
2,000 years later.
All right. So as you know, I have heard many of my peoples hollering at your boy to go see Godzilla -1. It was already in the mix and already in the plans. But then I get a text message saying, best Godzilla movie ever. I don't like going in with expectations. I don't like going in feeling like, you know what I'm saying, I already have a bar set. I like to kind of already set my bar. But the bar has been set. Things have been said. Things they are talking about with this Godzilla movie. Okay, people, we're going to see. I wasn't going in with a harsh judgment, but now you making Afro Tuck Nation go in with the game plan, with the thought process, with expectations. I'm looking, I'm watching, I'm going to be seeing. So be prepared for that review. Be prepared. Some of y'all might be happy. Some of y'all might not. We're going to find out real soon. But until then, my friends, you see your mans in the streets. Hit them with the beats and hit them with a jingle jangle, baby. Jingle jangle.
It's caught in the crossfire.